Hey, listener. This is Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two friends recap romance novels while digging deep, feeling everything, and loving the genre. In case you're not sure, this is Melody. It's just Melody with a sexy, sick voice. I hope you're liking that. On August 29th, patrons at the Friendship Boner tier and higher get to hang out with Sarah McLean. She's joining us for book club that Monday, the 29th. So get ready with all your hot takes on road trip romances, only having one pesky bed, and anything else, because Heartbreaker's coming out. Naima Simone and I are still having a blast recapping The One That Got Away, so you can also look forward to another exclusive episode of us talking neon portals and Anthony's perfect one-liners. What a treat. This week, my friend Liz from the Make Out Already podcast and future debut romance author is here to chat about Real by Kennedy Ryan with me. But seriously, go to Amazon.com and pre-order How That Makes You Feel by L. Diaz, because that's Liz. Okay, but to the show. Hello, Liz is here.
Hello, I'm Liz.
From Make Out Already podcast.
Yes, that's me. Hi, thanks for having me back.
Oh my gosh, of course. You can come back anytime, literally anytime. We text all the time anyway, so
This
in person is so much better. In person, this has become in person to me.
It's become in person to most people.
Yeah,
and honestly,
right?
like I kind of prefer it
Sometimes, yeah.
because in the in person out there,
Uh-huh.
there's monkeypox.
There's so much happening out there in the physical world that I don't enjoy.
I like it in here.
Yeah. No, it's safe in here. Honestly, I can get to more meetings from in here without the stupid commutes. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something to this lifestyle. I've
gotten like so confident about my face. Like my face, I'm just like good with it.
Yeah.
Below the collarbone, I'm like, does that exist? I don't know.
I don't know that it does
see it.
most of the time. I know.
I have no idea.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so listener, Liz has been amazing, and she just did like a free therapy session with me. And like I needed it, and I feel better now. And I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart.
You're welcome. I'm glad that I could be helpful.
Yeah.
Especially with this book.
And oh boy. So listener, here, listen.
Sorry, I interrupted whatever you were saying.
No, it was this. It's that this book is so good. This book is so good. But like it verges into too good with where my whole emotional state is. Like Kennedy Ryan, how dare you be so lyrical and gorgeous with your prose, and how dare you do such a good job with your fucking light metaphors, and like just thank you, but also how dare you, ma'am. You're so amazing.
And this was a saga that went through decades of time.
Yeah.
And it had multiple
storylines, backstories, all the business. So the moral of the story, listener, is that this is going to be more of like, I don't know, like a traditional discussion podcast, and not like the recap.
We're gonna go book
series
club
too.
style.
We are, So I encourage you to read the book or listen to the audiobook. It is 17 hours long. However,
17 fucking hours long.
The voice actors sing.
Yes, that's amazing. Like they have, I think, 3 different voice actors. So they have for Neva, for Canon, and then they have for Desi.
For Desi Blue.
Desi Blue's voice and singing.
Yeah. And
narrating and singing.
part of the story is about this 1930s Black singer who had to deal with, you know, all of the fucking racism of the American South, and then does get to spend some time in Europe afterwards. But we get to hear her sing, and I was just like blown away. Every time this woman sang, I got the big chills all over my body. It was amazing. So anyway, super, super worth the read. There are some triggers. One of those is chronic illness, that I can think of right now. Chronic illness and, like, you know, death talked about off the page. There's a lot of, you know, in your face 1930s style racism that sucks balls.
Yeah. There's past infidelity, not in like a marriage, but like the character had been cheated on.
That's right. That's true.
Real quick, I was wrong. It's 4 people on the audiobook. So Ebony Flowers and Jacoby Diem. So those were the 2 main characters. And then featuring Nicole Small. So I'm guessing that's Desi's narrating voice, and vocal performance by April Christina. So this was a whole ass production.
And it, like, I bow down. It did exactly what the text required of it. And that was utter and complete excellence that everyone has to be reverent of. Like, it was so gorgeous, the whole thing. Anyway, so yeah, definitely read the book, because we're not going to go scene by scene, but we will tell you the story.
We can set it up.
We can set it up. That's right. Does it start with Neva? Yes.
So yes, because
Neva's,
she was an understudy on Broadway.
Yeah, so she starts, it's a giant big day, because for the first time she gets to actually perform her understudy role, because the lady's like gone on vacation or something. I was hoping she got showgirled, but she didn't. It's fine. No, I'm kidding. That's bad. So she's going to perform, and it's incredible. And then there's this big time director in town.
Mostly documentaries.
Oh God, he does all these documentaries, and he was a breakout star when he was 21, because he made this documentary about his mother, and she was older in age, and she was like dying, but she was obsessed with photography and cameras and light, and God,
she would photograph every sunset. And she would say that a sunset was like a miracle that you could rely on.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
And we find out later that the heroine has watched it earlier in her, like, you know, artistic life. And it gave her a bunch of inspiration as far as like making the most of every day and pouring your whole soul into your art. So anyway, now he's turning, so he had his documentaries. His name is Cannon, because the camera.
Yes.
And then he had one feature film that he was the director of. He did slip and fall into the bed of the lead actress.
Fell straight into her vagina.
Golly gosh.
There's all these tripping hazards.
I know. And just the aim that he managed, you know what I mean? So then, like, he found out that she was a douche nozzle.
Yeah, she was kind of like catty and like not really like supporting other Black actresses. Like, she wanted to be like the girl.
Right.
And he overheard this phone call where she was just being a big old bitch.
I mean, where she was basically plotting the demise of another ingenue. And he was just like, oh, this is not for me. This whole deal, not for me. We lift everybody up over here in Cannon Land. We're not doing that. So he broke it off. And then she threw a big old shit fit and told the studio that she would walk or they would fire Cannon. And so he did get very fired from
He
his
did
one
get
and only
fired,
feature
and
film.
everyone knew it was because he'd screwed the actress.
Yeah, because he had done some dickmatizing that did
Yeah.
not work out for him.
No.
Anyway, so now he's on he's at the very, very beginning stages of what I think he considers right now is going to be like the most important feature film he could ever make in his whole career, no matter what.
This is going to be his masterpiece.
Yes. And it's about this very, very little known jazz singer from the 20s and 30s who lived in Alabama and nobody knows about.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody should know about, like so many Black artists from especially back in the day. And everybody else would just appropriate their shit and then be like, oh, I'm sorry, you wanted royalties? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. So anyway, he found a bunch of her journals. Is that what it was?
Well, okay, so he first heard about her because he saw a sign, like a little tribute to her.
Yes.
And then he researched her, and I think he got in touch with the family.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, and that's how he got access to all this material, to letters that she had sent that revealed that her friend, when she was a young singer in Harlem, because she moved to Harlem to try to kick off some kind of career, had been her girlfriend, and they'd had this secret relationship.
Yeah.
And then later she went off to perform with this guy, and she gets a newspaper clipping.
Yeah, they go to Europe, and there's this whole scene where she's saying goodbye to Tilda, and she's like, you're gonna wait for me because this is worth it. And Tilda's like, yeah, I'll do my best. And then she does get that newspaper clipping that Tilda sent her. Tilda's kind of a jerk.
And Tilda says, I'm sorry, I had to. She pulls a freaking, what's his face, a burger. She pulls a burger.
Yes, she pulled a burger.
She pulls a burger via the mail with a newspaper wedding announcement. And she married some dude.
Listen, and that, I'm sure she had to, right? I'm not judging or begrudging that. I am, however, judging just the newspaper clipping with the two-phrase "fuck you" at the end that's just written on it. Tilda, she just
especially when they've written each other all these letters.
Yeah.
And I'm suddenly so angry.
Don't tell me everything.
No, that's it. I think that I just have some baggage around this.
Yeah.
With people who to be very verbose, just being them's the breaks, kids.
Right. Mic drop. See you never.
Yeah. So
So anyway, sorry. So we know early on that she's married to this dude named Cal, who's great and whatever. And
Desi is.
Yeah, Desi is. Yes. But for most of the book, I mean, her sections are very small, and it's told via script form, which is so cool.
If you read You Had Me at Hola by Alexis
I was just going to say that.
It's like that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Ooh, and I love this device.
Yeah.
So anyway, we find out that the reason she and Cal finally connect emotionally and romantically is because she does get text dumped by her girlfriend Tilda, and so whatever. And we get to see them have their first kiss. And even though that section of the story was so small, I feel like Kennedy Ryan does such a good job of honoring them through the making of the movie as well. And so those sort of first person snippets are so absolutely powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something she's a goddamn wizard.
Yeah. And through Neva feels because of what she's trying to do with her career, she feels like she has to honor Desi's legacy, because Desi in so many ways pave the way for her. Maybe
Absolutely.
not directly, maybe not like, oh, she won an Oscar or a Tony and therefore like created all these opportunities, but she showed an example of someone following their passion and going as far as they could with it. And
until their passions changed.
And Neva feels like she gets to carry the torch. She gets to be the next like runner in the relay.
Well, absolutely. And also to shed light on a person who should have gotten so much recognition and accolades, and, you know, let people know that she existed at all.
Yeah. And in the author's note, Kennedy Ryan talks about a lot of the real life Black women who inspired Desi's character, who went through everything that Desi went through. And I think the blackface scene specific. Oh, yeah. No, on Storygraph, it says that it happened to Billie Holiday.
Yeah.
Where like she was too light-skinned of a Black woman, and they thought, well, we can't have someone who looks like a white woman with all the lights on stage with a bunch of Black men, because people will lose their minds. So we've got to make you look darker. So
they made her put on grease paint.
Yeah. So that was really distressing. And that was the first scene that we saw Neva really like go so deeply into the character that she had kind of a breakdown afterward. Yeah, absolutely. And Cannon had to comfort her because they weren't together at that point. And she was like, I'm sorry, I can do it better. And he's like, you cannot do it better.
Yeah.
Because it was perfect.
Yeah. And he was like, he told her that one of the reasons, because he sort of picks her out of obscurity after seeing her perform once on Broadway. And he gets a lot of flack for it. The agency, the production company does not want her attached to the film at all because she's a complete unknown. Yeah. And he was like, this is why I wanted you to be the person who plays Desi, because she lost herself in it. And like, it was so great because on one level, like watching the way that she experienced that racism by going through the scene, like experienced it in her body. And then having Cannon understand that, because he says that you absolutely cannot do it any better. However, like, you shouldn't be traumatized by the movie we're making. And so just to let you know, I am hiring a therapist for everyone on the film because we should process these feelings as they come up so that they don't do any like long lasting damage. Yeah. And I was just like, oh no, this man is so hot. Oh boy, caring about that mental health.
At some point in the book, someone says about him after he leaves the room, like, that's a man.
That's a man.
That's a man.
I mean, yeah. Okay. So to back up on Cannon and Neva's whole deal.
Their whole deal.
Oh boy. She does her one performance on Broadway, and a dude she knows, Monk, he's called Monk because he is obsessed with Thelonious Monk. He's the one who brings Cannon to this show, and they like go to dinner afterwards, and Cannon like is on his phone the whole time. He does not give anybody the fucking time of day. And one lady's really trying, and Neva's just like, whatever, man.
Meanwhile, she like cannot take her eyes off of him.
Yeah, she cannot. The man. And the way that she talks about him like filling up the table, like not just with his shoulders, but his presence is so much. Oh my God. So then at the end of the dinner, they like connect a little bit, and she kind of does a snuckle. A snort chuckle. Because she's watching this lady try really, really hard to like get and keep his attention, and just his face is just not having it. And so she does that snuckle, and he's like, hey, what's going on over there? What are you laughing about?
What are you snuckling about?
Yeah. And she's like, ooh, your face. Like, somebody cannot read the room. So cute. And then he's talking to Monk afterwards, and he's like, I found Desi Blue.
Mhm.
Like, I'm gonna hire that lady if, she wants the job. And who wouldn't, as an actor who like wants to make it in the world?
Yeah, and she knows who the hell he is immediately.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Monk is so funny because he's like, but you didn't pay any attention to her whatsoever. Like, what the fuck, man? This is coming out of nowhere. And he's like, Psh, I don't want her to like know that I'm so impressed with her.
Because then she'll start auditioning like on the spot.
Yeah. Ah! Oh my God. So anyway, he like calls her at some point, and she's in her studio apartment that she shares with her best friend, who's also like a makeup artist and hairdresser.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, do you want this part? I would like to give it to you. Come do a screen test and like come do all these things. We watch him fight with the production company, and like particularly one asshole that I'm hoping gets super dumped in later books.
Oh, I think he's going to.
Right.
I really, really think that he has a divorce in his future.
Oh my God. His name is like Stone Lawson or something. Yeah. And he's married to this like incredible seamstress and costume designer. Her name is Lynn, and Cannon's best friend / production partner is pretty much immediately obsessed with her and doesn't hide it super well.
Yeah, he's basically like, Cannon has to tell him, like, you look like you're about to start humping the furniture, and we're in this man's house. Stop.
You're like,
bring
you're
it
about
down.
to have a meeting with her husband. Like, put it away, bud. And he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But then later on, as the friend is helping Cannon dress down this guy because he's being insensitive and awful, he's like, and also your wife is amazing and you don't deserve her.
And Cannon's like,
oh,
okay, that's a little more intense than
little below the belt. I didn't hate it though.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I want them to get together in some book later on.
Maybe book 2. Who knows? Who knows? This book just came out in 2021, so I don't know what the schedule is.
Yeah. And oh my God, this cover is just as lush and beautiful as the prose. Like,
it very much is the, like, okay, so I've talked about this with the cartoon covers. My thesis is that books are so marketed by trope now because illustrated covers so rarely give readers the amount of information that they need to assess the tone and the vibe of a book. And it's like, it's not that these covers aren't cute, and some of them are like absolutely gorgeous. Like, I love the painterly style ones that we're seeing more of, but it just makes every book look like it's a rom-com, and not every romance is a rom-com.
Yeah.
So like, I know that people like get annoyed at the list of tropes used to market books, but like, it's nice to know what the hell is in the book.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah, this one is just so like grounded, and you can see its nod to the history on the cover. Like, it is disgustingly good.
It's honestly very good.
Yeah. Okay. So they have like a big attraction to each other. And as they're filming and stuff, we see these different points in which their attraction like sort of starts to bubble over, and neither of them know what to do with themselves. One time it's on this rooftop bar, and she's basically like, oh my God, abort mission. I gotta go before I just like, leave a snail trail out the door.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And later on, what's the one? Does she get like a little emotional in front of him?
So when they're looking at that scene things.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So the first scene where they kind of connected and you could feel like the sexual tension between them was when they were looking through Desi's belongings, and they found out this story that they didn't know about her having been bisexual and in a relationship with a woman, and then like talking about like, is the family going to want to include that, which they did. And then they had the connection over the scene with the grease paint.
Oh God,
and then the snail trail rooftop bar thing. And I can't remember when it was that it happened, but like Cannon's whole thing is like, I've already like done the actress thing, and I don't want people to think like that's what I do, that I just screw my actresses.
Yeah,
because that would be bad. I'm a professional. I can't, like, that happened one time.
Right. And it was like bad news bears. And like
I don't want to be like
that guy in the industry
for like, for like my one slip up.
Yeah.
Like he wishes he'd saved his one slip up for Neva, basically.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And also he doesn't want to mess up her career and start
because
out with
she's
like
brand
like,
new.
oh, she got this because she was screwing the director, and he wants to put his girlfriend in the movie, and he wants people to see that she's talented. Neva should care more about that.
She should. She gives no fucks.
She gives no fucks because, one, she trusts in her talent.
Yep.
And that she is deserving of the role, and that people on set can see how hard she works. And two, she wants that dick.
Boy, I mean, from page one, like
she wants that dick.
My favorite
She's
thing.
like, I'm a grown woman.
Yes.
There's dick I want.
Yes.
And dick wants me.
Yes. This is a mutual attraction, everyone. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, one of my favorite things about that first dinner scene is that she's like, oh my God, this man. And then he proceeds to be an absolute asshat throughout dinner. And she's like, God, I hate that he's got such a terrible personality, because that body is just yikes. And so she like hates herself for being so attracted to him and la la la. And then he makes it so much harder as he starts showing her his talent and his dedication.
Yeah, his
and
gravitas.
God, yeah, his dog, the way he loves his craft. You know what I mean? Oh boy.
Hey HBs, I started an Etsy store. Did you know? Right now, it's full of all the St. Vincent items you need, because St. Vincent is thoughtful and cozy all year round. We've got a book sleeve to keep your books, planners, e-readers, or really anything else safe when you're on the go. The inside is fuzzy, and they feel so incredibly lush in your hands. I went round and round with the manufacturers to make sure I had just the right thickness. Those feature art of St. Vincent and Evie during their carriage adventure that was painted by the amazing Mayara Faraz on one side, and then I created a St. Vincent Would Always wreath on the other side that has a bunch of little Easter egg items in it. There's a St. Vincent Would Always warm brick enamel pin. It's like, if you know, you know. I designed a special edition Marriage of Convenience candle that is specific to Devil in Winter, with the help of HB Jen at Post Pouring Company. It combines dark amber for St. Vincent and rosewood for Evie, and it smells so delicious. It's hard to even wrap my brain around. So if you want to treat yourself or be the St. Vincent you want to see in the world by getting a care package for a friend, check out our Etsy store. The link is in the show notes.
Okay, so wait, real quick. The other thing about Neva is that she found out two giant glaring things about Neva that we haven't said out loud.
They're real important.
Yikes. Actually, one is the prologue. Whoopsie doodle, listener. One is the prologue, and it's 18-year-old Neva coming home. And like, she wants to be an actress, but she is engaged to her high school sweetheart. And she's considering, don't do that. Like, just wait. What's the harm? Is all.
People still happily married to their high school sweethearts. That's cool. You don't have to do it right out of high school, though.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
All. Not whatsoever.
You don't have to make it legally binding.
No.
Yeah.
Be like, you know what? Just like take that ring back, pocket the money, put it in an interest generating savings account.
Oh,
so
sexy.
that when we're a little older, you can get me a better one and put a down payment on a house.
That's right. Frame that ring in a little shadow box and put it up on your wall with the rest of your goals.
Yeah.
But maybe put a down payment on a house before you do like a ring or a wedding. Listen, I don't know.
That's just my advice.
Yeah.
To you, young listener.
Yes.
18-year-old listener.
Yeah. There's no rush.
There's no rush.
Is all we're saying. And if anybody is rushing you, it's a bad sign.
Yeah, because Neva's got this scholarship letter from Rutgers burning a hole in her pocket.
Drama.
Yeah. She could go to a really good drama school, but she's like, well, maybe I should just like stay here and get married and have some kids and teach fucking drama in high school, which totally valid, but is not what she wants to do.
But it's not for Neva. Not for Neva. She's got bigger shit on the horizon. She is saved from all that though. Because she comes home and her older sister, the person she's closest to in the world,
Terry, her best friend, her everything. They've especially been close since her dad has died.
Yes.
So it's just the three women in the home.
Yes. Yeah. And so she walks into the living room and Terry and Bartholomew, what's his name? I have no idea what his name is. Brandon, it was a B. Brandon, they're like sitting way too close to each other on the couch, but Neva doesn't even notice that because she's just like, oh, my family, like I love both of you and two of my favorite people are in the same room. And then she finds out that Terry is pregnant with a baby made of Brandon's sperm.
Yeah.
Oh.
So here's the thing about Brandon. Brandon is just a Chad with a B. And you know what Chad with a B is? Bad. Yeah. Is this how you would pronounce that name?
Yeah.
So
because his whole deal, this fucking Chad with a B.
Oh my God.
I'm obsessed with that. His whole thing is that the only reason he fucked her sister is because she's not ready to have sex yet.
Which she does eventually have sex with him.
Then she starts having sex with him and he still continues to fuck her sister. And like, that's still, he does the mental gymnastics to like, try to keep it there. Cause like,
and her sister very much was like, oh, Neva told me that she's not ready to have sex with him. So like, I'm going to throw my little pussy at him.
Whole body. Just ba 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 da boom.
Like,
oh my God.
Dances up to him and is like, hey.
Yeah, they're mutually terrible in this case.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're right.
They do look alike.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So anyway, that's why she left home. That's one thing. That's one foundational thing about Neva, because we also get to see some family redemption in this book. Anyway, so, and then the other thing is that she has a type of lupus.
Yeah, she has discoid lupus.
Discoid lupus, yes, instead of systemic lupus. And so discoid lupus mostly attacks the skin and the hair and like can be managed and is not life-threatening. Systemic lupus is life-threatening. The other reason that I had a bit of a hard time with this book is that one of my favorite people in the whole wide world in college had lupus and she did not live long enough as a result. So it was a bit tough. It was a bit of a memory lane situation for me.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, it's not, my grief is nothing to her family's, you know what I mean? But But she was like, just like Neva, she was such a light. And anyway, so that was rough. Okay, so those are two things about Neva. And she's also just like a great friend. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She gets this big job on this big movie, and her best friend is, trying really hard to be happy for her, but is also like really sad because she's moving out of their apartment, and she's just
going
like,
from New York to LA. Yeah.
You're gonna be amazing. Bye. And she gets her a job. She's like, if I take this role, I have to have my own stylist. I have to have my own hair person.
That is the only thing she put in her contract.
That's the one. Yes. And she tries to be like, well, it's because you know how to handle my hair with the discoid lupus. Like, about all that. And that's like a sliver of the reason, Neva.
Yeah, it's a sliver of the reason. It is hard when you have any kind of texture to your hair.
Yeah.
When you have ethnic hair, to find someone who knows how to handle it. So like, I get her attachment to her hairstylist very much. Like, I don't have a fucking hairstylist because my hairstylist became a motivational speaker.
Oh,
and
boy.
She's doing really well for herself.
Good for her.
Like, I have not been able to find anyone else. So I just like do my own shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. That's definitely part of it. But, watching the rest of her interactions, it's so much about making sure that she's bringing as many people up with her as she can. Like, she
makes every person she talks to feel like they are the most special person in the world, and she's only paying attention to them, and it's completely sincere. Like, she's not just like doing a manipulation bit. She like just genuinely brings out the absolute best in people.
Yeah. So we get to watch her learn how to do the Lindy Hop, which is very hard to do. It is an aerobic workout that will kick your ass. Oh, and then Thanksgiving happens. And everybody's like, Cannon, come over to my house for Thanksgiving. And he's like, I just want to be on my own. I'm a grumpy bear who wants solitude.
I'm just going to drink Macallan and have a steak dinner.
Yeah. And she's like, I've been on sensory overload for the past few months. And like, I'm really excited to just, have my best friends going to her house. And I'm just going to read my lines and be quiet. And it's really exciting. But one of Cannon's best friends, who also works on the movie, does accidentally, probably, reserve them tables next to each other at like the best Thanksgiving dinner restaurant and like most romantic restaurant in LA. Jill, I see you.
Yeah.
You're a neon sign. Everybody can see you.
But what are they gonna do? Are they gonna sit like are they
gonna sit 5 feet away from each other?
Yeah, and not have dinner together?
How could they? Like, that's weird. That's weirdness. So Cannon invites her to sit down at the table. And I just need you to know that as I was reading this scene via audiobook, this scene into a lot of the rest of the scene that happens, the subsequent-ish that goes down. I was at the park with my kids. I was roller skating. I've started roller skating, everyone.
Okay.
It's a whole journey. So I was trying not to...
Pandemic bingo card.
Oh my, seriously, right? Like, I'm such a fucking cliche.
You know what? We all had our thing.
It's
At
true.
Least it wasn't resin art.
There, I've heard that's a little bit expensive. Can't do it.
Dangerous.
Oh yeah, and dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hitting my ass on roller skates is not dangerous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, you're right.
I was trying not to hit sticks in the middle of the blacktop while my kids got way too close to me because they were so excited about the roller skates and they didn't understand that I would actually murder them
if my body hit them with that kind of momentum.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, so it's a weird association in my mind now that I talk about this big romance.
Mhm.
Anyway, so they're sitting at the table eating Thanksgiving dinner, and they like get to know each other way better.
Mhm.
And then it is dessert time.
Yeah. Neva puts the moves on him.
Mm-hmm. I respect it hard.
Yeah.
It's great. She's like, I made an apple cobbler, and that's what I'm going to have when I get home. And he's like, oh, apple cobbler's my favorite. As I'm sure he's like looking off into the distance or whatever. And she's like, you can have some of my apple cobbler.
I would love to give you a slice of my apple cobbler. I'll warm it up for you.
She may as well be telling him that she's going to pour some sugar on him and to come eat her cherry pie. Like, it's for serious. Wow. And he's like, there's like a beat, and then he's like, yeah, great idea. Great idea. And then like they go to her house, and like I think they might eat the apple cobbler. I'm not really sure about it.
I think they
do.
I think I'm
start
not
eating
sure
it.
if they start eating it like before interrupted
she
sex
straddles
or after
him?
the interrupted sex.
I'm pretty sure they
don't
eat.
consummate the relationship.
No,
then.
because he gets a very fateful call from Evan, his production partner. No, but I fucking love Neva because she's just like, here's my apple cobbler. I'm eating it. And then she like takes their plates to the sink or something. And then she just comes over and she straddles him and puts her boobs in his face. And she's very just like, I am into this, and don't infantilize me. I get to make my own choices as long as you're cool with it too.
Yeah.
It's a big sexy sex.
Perfect. Very, very sexy.
Yes. And then he's like, oh, gotta go. I've been fatefully interrupted. And then I think he says like, this is like a choice we're definitely gonna make or something like that. But I need you to be very sure, because I'm perfectly fine with waiting until after production is completely wrapped. And that's like months.
So then he finds a loophole. He finds a loophole.
Jill finds the loophole for him.
Oh, Jill. Good old Jill, man.
I love Jill. Yeah.
Jill's already happily married, right?
Yeah.
She's good. Okay, no book for Jill, but like more Jill.
Listen, I can look at a married romance, you know?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even have to be second chance. You can just give me, I don't know, a newsletter magnet that's like Jill boning down with her husband that she's known since high school. Psh, what? I'm not going to throw stones at it, you know?
So he's like, after Jill points out, like, well, we do have that Christmas break.
We're not filming on Christmas break.
Yeah. He's like, okay, what are you doing for Christmas? She's like, I'm going home to see my terrible family.
Oh my God.
And he's like, okay, what about New Year's? Do you want to go and stay in a vacation home with me and have sex all over Santa Monica?
All over Santa Barbara, but
Santa Barbara, sorry.
Whole different
down
vibe.
On Santa Monica, where drinks are for kids, is just like rolling in my head.
There we go. Yeah, we're going for more of a posh,
okay,
you know, what's that called? Infinity pool kind of a situation. So she's like,
this is how you should want to be wooed. You should want to be wooed like with a guy saying like, hey, I really want to bone you, so I'm going to take you on a fancy getaway with an infinity pool.
Yeah.
To make
I think more than just the highbrow accommodations, right? Because like that's really nice.
Yes, it is.
It's like the effort, you know, like he planned this whole thing. He picked the destination. He created this vacation for her.
Yeah.
All in the name of wooing. And that's hot. It doesn't have to be the 4 seasons.
No, it doesn't, but
it just needs to be effort.
What's appealing is the simp behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's appealing.
Mm-hmm.
You can be a simp on a budget. I'm not being like a
not being
like a
hoity
snob.
about it.
I'm not being hoity about it.
Yeah.
But like for his level, that's how he would show his simpness.
That's right.
So he did it.
And he does it.
Yeah.
And they do it, listener. I'll tell you that.
They do it, and it is very good.
Yowza.
Side note, he does not know about her lupus because she has not told anyone on the production. She passed the physical for the insurance, and
she legally does not have to disclose it because of the type of lupus it is.
Yeah.
She does disclose her hair and skin condition. She just doesn't say that it's specifically diastolic, diaphanastic.
I had it.
Discoid.
Thank you.
God, no, thank you. Discoid lupus.
Yeah.
And so she's crossed her I's and dotted her T's. No.
It
didn't do
the other way around.
God damn it. Dotted those T's and fuck no.
She's crossed the T's and dotted the I's.
That's the one. See, Liz is literate, and that is helpful when you're on a book podcast.
Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, that's
and then they get caught
by the worst person they could get caught by.
Yes.
It was worse that they got caught by his ex's publicist than if they'd been caught by the ex, because then maybe she could have had like her visceral reaction and thrown her little
privately
shit right then, privately, instead of then, because she heard it from her publicist, going on a podcast and being like, I guess Cannon just like screws all his actresses, and I wasn't even allowed to audition for this movie because of Cannon hating me.
Wow.
Bitch.
Yikes. Camille, this is the type of behavior that he dumped you for. You know what I mean?
This is exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Right here.
You're messy.
Concept.
You're messy and you're spiteful.
Stop messy.
Stop it. Anyway, so yeah, that also happens. And that's how the world and the crew and everybody find out about their relationship, because they were doing a fairly good job keeping it under wraps, even though Kennedy Ryan does manage to give us very hot, like rooftop sex scenes during the secretive time. Like the way that she would have been
caught. They would have been caught. Like,
I know.
Cannon, like, shuts down a whole restaurant, like, before, like 2 hours before they open. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna like take this whole restaurant, be on the rooftop, and like also like we're going to full on have penetrative sex on this roof. Where's the staff?
Where is the staff?
Someone's got to be like bussing that table.
Like, if it's downtown, there are skyscrapers in downtown LA. Like, listen, I'm trusting Cannon and his judgment, although I do think it's a little bit suspect. Cannon, you really gotta look a little, like squint a little before you start making these decisions. Because let's review, he took her hundreds of miles away and then couldn't bear to spend New Year's fucking in their Airbnb. And so that's why they get caught. He's like, no, I want to take you out, even though I do know this is a Hollywood vacation spot. Cannon!
They put on the Avengers ball cap disguise.
Oh my God.
They do like a Steve Rogers in Winter Soldier.
Thing.
They're like, baseball cap. No one's going to recognize this very famous person.
No, of course not. Oh man, you know that Cannon's butt is better than America's butt. It has to be, right? I feel like it has to be.
Yes, but Chris does.
I mean, I'm not throwing shade.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that in my mind, like, Cannon even surpasses America's butt.
Yeah.
And that's a feat.
Yes.
That's all. Anyway.
No, I get that. She doesn't really talk about his butt the way she talks about other things, but like he's got
it.
Grabbable. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She does. There's that blowjob scene where as he's like coming down her throat, she's got her nails into his butt cheeks in like a possessive manner that I respected. Anyway,
have you heard that TikTok sound? That's like, what you doing out here with all this ass? Cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon, hella ass. And apparently the original clip is about some guy talking about another guy who he'd seen, and he'd been like, it was someone he knew, but like he saw the ass and was like, oh, that's a good ass. And then realized it was this guy he knew and was like, what are you doing out here with all this ass? It might have been like on a Dateline kind of show. Like he was telling the story. I need to look into this because I saw the clip, but even the original clip lacks the context because it's TikTok.
Oh my gosh.
But like,
Michael right now is having a lot of fun with coded language in front of our children.
Oh.
And so, boy, has my 3-year-old started walking around and saying, that's a juicy peach. Michael.
You're going to get some calls from the school. You're fucked.
I know. Oh boy. Anyway, and I keep on being like, I know.
Oh, hey, HBs. I don't know if you've heard, but we have a Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you get over 150 bonus episodes, most of which include Aaron, videos of regular episodes, author hangouts, and so much more. Do you want to hear Aaron and I recap every single episode of Crash Landing on You? What about a little film called Psycho Stripper? Do you want more recaps of ridiculous Thanksgiving and other holiday books and movies? And how do you feel about Naima Simone and I recapping amazing reality TV? All of that and more is on the Patreon. There's so much content at your fingertips as soon as you sign up. Seriously, hours and hours. Anyway, it's patreon.com/Heaving Bosoms Podcast if you want to check it out. And of course, that link is in the show notes. Keep being a badass.
Okay, so they get exposed.
Yeah.
And Cannon does not consult with her before doing this.
Mm.
And I feel like Neva should have been a little bit more ticked off about this because he comes out on set and she's realizing like what's happened. Everyone on set, all the people she's baked cookies for, mind you, they start side-eyeing her.
A little bit.
And being kind of catty. And then he comes out and he's like, Neva, you want to ride home? And then just grabs her hand. Like, we're not going to make this a thing, an announcement, a discussion. Like, okay, so we're exposed. We don't have anything to be ashamed of. So we're not going to hide it.
Yeah. We're not going to hide it. We're not going to act shady about it because it's not shady. It's just a thing that's happening. We are dating because we are two adults who are very hot for each other and we see each other's souls. And that's, you know, the important part. So now they have to like do more filming. They have to go on location.
Mm-hmm.
They have to
build the French Riviera pretty much. Yeah. And they're switching to film, which is a whole ordeal.
I mean, because
digital.
Cannon is the most.
Yes. He is an auteur.
Oh, yeah, Liz. Get it. Yep. Yeah, Cannon's like, no, we're gonna shoot this stuff on film because that's how they did it in the olden days, and it needs to look totally like why. Never mind. I'm sure there was an explanation for it that I just can't grasp because I am not an auteur.
Yeah. he pulled a Sam Levinson and is like, Kodak, you're gonna restart your factory so that I can shoot these teenagers shooting up heroin and really pretty ways
on like reel to reel bullshit. Jesus. So they do this whole thing. She is in a cottage, and you know, the people who are like, I think they call them like below the line staff or whatever, you know, like there's above the line crew.
Like the people who you have to like expand on IMDb.
Oh yeah.
To see the rest of them.
All those people are at the hotel.
Yeah.
But she's got a cottage and it's very nice. They're really cute because she doesn't see him for a little while and she's like, I really miss him and it feels silly, but that's okay. And then he comes back to, first of all, he gets his buffet dinner because the whole crew is eating on the beach. And he just casually, the director of the film, walks up to her table and is like, hey, can you scoot over a little bit? And the poor like PA or whoever is sitting there is just like, oh my God, yes. Ah! And scoots over so that he can like snuggle with his girlfriend very casually at dinner. And it was hot.
It was very hot. Because Cannon's whole thing is he's incredibly intimidating because he demands like, if you're late to my set, you might as well not show up.
Oh, yeah.
I expect the best of you. I am not easy to work with, but he cares a lot about everyone's well-being and is not like a harassing kind of director. He's very professional, but he's exacting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. One of my favorite podcasts recently is called Behind the Bastards. And it's like incredibly well-researched. And a bunch of comedians join. I think his name is Robert Evans. And Robert Evans basically tells them the story of like history's worst fuckers. And one of my favorite, I think the first one that I listened to was all about these Hollywood directors who did the Twilight Zone movie. And the theme of the episode was like the danger of gosh, now I can't remember what it's called, but like in our tour, you know, like the all knowing, you know, suffer for your art kind of director, and all of the people that have been injured and, you know, killed and everything on these sets because the directors are like, no, but my art, it must be more accurate and like more real, make the explosions bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's really interesting because Cannon has all of the qualities of those directors as far as being exacting and like expecting and not accepting anything but the best from every single person on his set. But he doesn't have the toxic qualities of like, you will suffer. I don't care if you leave with a back injury for the rest of your life. I expect the best of you, but I am going to get you a therapist and I'm going to try to do French hours and I will have a daycare on set. And like, I'm trying to make all of these accommodations to make the crew as happy as possible. And I loved that she included that detail because it really did make his like dickish behavior so much more palatable. Like I never felt like he was a bad dude.
Yeah. He never came off like a bad dude or a bad boss. So I appreciated that. He does have to chastise her.
Wait, we can't get to that first. Because we can't get to that. We have to go to the cottage before.
Yes.
Because after dinner, he takes her to the cottage and they like just attack each other as soon as they're in the cottage. And they talk about the last time they've been tested and who they've been with since then. And he's like, are you saying that we don't need a condom? And she's like, I mean, if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. You can
hit it raw.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't know what it is. But raw and raw dog are two phrases that just like give me the squiggles all over my body
so much because I think it's hilarious.
I know.
I say it all the time. When I talk about antidepressants, I say, wow, people are really out here just like raw dogging life. You're out without a phone case.
That's hilarious.
Just raw dog life. I'm not going to go out without a mask and raw dog the air. It's like my favorite thing to say.
Okay, honestly, in those contexts, that's objectively funny, and I'm fine with it. It's the sincere, like, you're letting me do it raw, that I'm just like, oh, never mind.
Get
Put
it?
the
Like you're
condom
like
on.
a piece of meat. Yeah.
Like, cover your whole body in the condom. Yeah. I revoke consent. Ah. Anyway.
On a full latex suit.
Yes. Anyway, so they have sex without a condom, and it's the first time he's ever done that. And there's this like really beautiful moment where she's like, oh my God, like he got famous when he was 21, and he's had to approach every interaction, romantic or not, with caution. And like, this is a huge amount of trust he's putting in right now. And it's just like beautiful and transcendent for both of them. Oh my God, it's so well written.
Yeah.
Kennedy, how dare you?
So obviously something bad's gonna happen next. Yeah. And the bad thing that happens is that she has been working herself into a lupus flare-up.
Yeah. And I mean, she's been doing everything she can, you know?
Yeah.
She's been as smart about it as she possibly can, but there's only so much you can do.
She's never worked these hours or done this much cardio or been under the stress of being the lead in a big Hollywood movie.
Absolutely.
Or having a secret relationship.
Also that. Yeah.
So
or like navigating Christmas with her fucking sister there, because that also happens, listener. Anyway.
That also happens. We'll get into the sister later because I got to talk my shit about that.
Liz has things to say.
But yeah, so like they have some kind of power outage or something, technical difficulties, and she goes back to take a nap and ends up falling into a death nap because she said that this has never happened to me before. So she is fully in hair and makeup, wearing her costume under her bathrobe, but she just passed out. So Cannon has to go and find her and
track her down. Oh my God, there's nothing more embarrassing. Oh my God. Yeah. I was dying.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And she was so embarrassed because like this is so unprofessional, and she doesn't want to then be like, oh well, I'm actually very sick. Yeah. Because she hasn't told him this yet.
Right. And like she has some labs that are supposed to come back, and you know, like there are things medically that have been happening that she hasn't felt the need to disclose yet.
Yeah.
And so he comes back and he's just like, what the hell are you doing? Like, get on set. This is, you know, about being late or whatever. And then she realizes that he's grappling with this, I can't show favoritism.
Yeah.
But I also shouldn't swing all the way in the other direction and be harder on Neva because I don't want other people to think that I'm showing favoritism, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's rough. And she is just like, she's just killing herself to try and make all of these scenes happen. So she ends up fainting on set and like can't make words, and it's not great. So she throws up on a dress that Lynn like hand sequined for her, and it's like the most beautiful thing she's ever seen in her life. And she's just like, please, you have to get me out of this dress. Like I cannot take this dress to the hospital. So he changes her, and then he's carrying her through the set to get her to his car and get to the hospital. And this is sort of double-edged for him as well, because he spent so much time in different medical environments when his mom was on the downslide.
Yeah.
From MS. Yeah. So she had MS, but then she ended up dying of bacterial pneumonia, which is, I mean, it's basically just a side effect of MS because her immune system wasn't strong enough to fight the pneumonia off.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's having a really hard time because this is triggering a bunch of memories for him. And then they find out that it's not the manage it kind of lupus. They're pretty sure that she has undiagnosed systemic lupus.
Yeah.
And that's obviously devastating because her aunt died of systemic lupus forever ago.
Her paternal aunt.
Yeah.
So she's always like couched it in like, I don't have the really bad lupus.
Right.
And when she tells her mom the diagnosis, she's like, it's not what my aunt had. It's different.
Yeah. We can all heave a big sigh of relief because I don't have that kind of lupus.
And now she had finally disclosed to Evan, who then told Cannon. That was a whole thing too.
Big trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. that she had discoid lupus. And now, like, he just found out that she had this condition, but it's not the life-threatening one. And then she throws up, she's in the hospital, and now they're saying it is the life-threatening one, and that she's going to need a kidney, and she's going to need interim dialysis until she can get this kidney. Yeah. So then it's a big search for a donor.
Right. So the great thing is that everybody on set loves Neva already. And so they find out that she needs a kidney, and like everybody and their goddamn goldfish is getting tested to see if they can give her theirs. But the best chance she has is her sister. And she does not want to ask her sister for anything, let alone a kidney. So she really puts off asking her sister for help to the point that she ends up, oh my God, first of all, the way that they grappled on the page, her with wanting to make sure he wasn't staying with her out of like this sense of nobility or obligation, and feeling like she's completely, unattractive now because her rashes have increased and she's losing more hair. And he, on the other hand, there's this gorgeous moment in the hospital when they find out that she has systemic lupus, where he just immediately flips the switch. He's like, I watched my mom, I helped my mom through this chronic illness, and I know exactly where it can lead. And I know the heartbreak, and I know the loss, and do I want to go through that again? And he's like, it's not a question. I want to go through whatever Neva's going through. And she's worth it. And sob, Melody's crying.
She tries really hard to push him away. And he's like, are we really doing this? Are we really doing this thing where you try to push me away because you're sick?
He's also so cute because she's been avoiding him a tiny bit, and they have a bit of a break. So he is going to take her to his house, and they're going to stay there for a while or whatever while the movie is doing other shit. And so the very first night they're there, she goes to take a bath, and he's noticing that she won't show, she's holding things up in front of herself, and she's running away when she's showing any of her body. And he's just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Neva is so comfortable in her skin. I've never seen
It's like
this
he
before.
can't imagine that she would feel any kind of way about showing how her body is changing. He's like, why would that fucking matter to me?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's like, I mean, I love her and I want her, but because I love her, I don't want to maul her if she's feeling bad.
Yeah.
And so he's uncomfortable, overtly hitting on her, and she's taking any of that as I'm hideous now. And he doesn't want me anymore. So he comes and he's like, can I just hang out in the bathroom while you're taking a bath? And she's
so we can talk.
Yeah, dude, just talk. We haven't seen each other in a while, and so I just talk to you. And in his inner
reaction
monologue,
to that is oh, what, you want to give me a sponge bath? Is basically the vibe she catches.
Yeah, exactly. And in his internal monologue, he's just like, I just fucking miss her, man. And I just want to be around her more. And then she goes to do something, and he's like, oh, are you shaving? Can I shave you? And she's like,
okay, you want to talk about something that gives you the squicks? I hate there's nothing erotic to me, the thought of someone else shaving my legs.
Same. Same. It's scary. It's just scary.
Yeah,
like if you want to have a danger bang afterwards, that's really the only option.
I trust my husband with my life.
Yes.
I don't trust him with my legs.
Yeah, fair. I think that's fine. Yeah. You don't know where my weird bumps are that I always cut myself on.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I know where they are though. So step aside, sir. I'm going to navigate these weird bumps.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Exactly.
Anyway, but he just wants to fucking touch her. Like he just wants to be closer to her in any platonic way possible. And so he's like, honestly, what's going on? Like, you need to just be straight with me. What's happening? Because it feels like you're pushing me away. And she's like, I'm hideous and you're being noble. And, you know, I don't want you with me just because you can't leave the sick girl and not look like an asshole. And he grabs her hand and he puts it on his hard cock. And he's like, does this feel noble to you?
Does this feel like pity?
Oh my God. It's
a man.
Hot. That's a man. Yeah. Yeah. And then like, you know, hop, skip, and a jump, emotional stuff later. She gives him the blowjob of a lifetime.
Yeah.
And then he goes down on her and then they have like crazy hot sex and we're back in better than ever because love transcends all, Liz.
Yeah, but she does need that kidney though.
There is a kidney situation.
Yeah. So her mom does not fly, which is why she's only come to see one of Neva's things in the last 12 years that she's been putting on, that she's been acting professionally. So Kanan's like, okay, we're just going to have to get this woman on a private jet. That's the only reason.
Is that going to ease the way for you?
Yeah. So the mom's like, yeah, can I bring Terry?
Yeah.
Because that would make me feel better.
I'll be less scared with Terry.
Kanan's like, Terry is her best shot at a kidney. Neva was going to call her and had not yet. He's going to be mad at me.
You're going to be big mad.
I love her more than I fear her.
That's right. That's exactly it.
Because like this might save her life.
Yeah.
So here we go. Terry shows up. It's super awkward. It takes Terry maybe 30 seconds to start laying into
God, she's such a fucking bitch.
About like, oh, you're just Miss Perfect. You have this perfect life. And Neva's like, I need a kidney.
I am actively dying, you dick.
I'm on dialysis. Really? You want to bring up this childhood jealousy shit right now?
Terry's incredible.
And then Kanan's like, Terry, if you're not going to be helpful, then you can get your ass back on a plane. And Terry's like, who the fuck are you?
And he's like, the man who cares about whether or not you put her in a stress coma, you asshole.
So Terry's like, of course I'm going to get tested. Why wouldn't I? Here's the thing about me.
Okay.
Because Terry does end up being a match. And they have to go through these counseling sessions because before you give an organ, there's mandatory counseling to make sure that you're okay with the decision and that you're processing it, which is awesome. I didn't know that was a thing. And it makes so much sense. Yeah. And the doctor knows about the history between them. So she suggests that they have some counseling sessions together. So they've been doing that remotely because Terry has to go back home.
Right.
So the thing about me is
show me your soul, Liz.
My body would reject that kid. Fight. My body would be like,
oh hell no,
sooner shrivel up and die than have that bitch's poor kidney in my body and owe her anything. No, like if I were in Neva's situation, I would perish because I might
You would just psychosomatically reject a kidney.
Yeah, my brain might be like, you know what? Swallow my pride. My life matters more than petty shit that happened years ago. My body would be like, bitch, you thought. But that's not what happens here. Because Kennedy Pride is a nice person, apparently, and not a spiteful grudge monster like I am. So yeah. So the surgery goes well, and they have like a beautiful like hug it out moment where she forgives her before going into surgery, and there's crying, and the mom comes in and sees them hugging, and then she's crying, and she's like, let's pray, and the nurse is like, we have to get them hooked up to an IV.
There is an operating room that is only available for this many hours.
And then Terry sees Brandon and is like, Brandon, do you want to come in? I would I would, if I were already hooked up to the IV at that point, I would rip that shit. I no.
Just rage levitated out of the bed.
Sorry.
Flying off into the horizon on your wings of spite.
Brave that I never needed.
Oh my God.
And then it's just like a march to the end. The surgery goes fine. It's a few months later. She hasn't rejected the kidney because she's a better person than I am. She and Terry and her niece, they FaceTime now. They're making plans to see each other over Christmas. And then Cannon, he shows her this little video that she's been working on with the footage, because Neva started talking to camera with him about lupus,
right,
and about the experience. So he starts putting something together, and he surprises her with it. And the plan is that they're going to put this documentary together, and it's going to be at the Cannes Film Festival, and that's going to be before the Desi Blue movie comes out, because at the end of the book, Neva has just been cleared to go back to work so they can finish the movie. And we get some of Desi's past, like after she went back home with Cal to take care of her mom who was dying of cancer. So like a lot of like illness in this book.
So much illness.
Yeah. And they decide to stay because they were doing really well and being rich and famous in Paris, making music, but the civil rights movement is calling them, and they feel like they can't just stand by. So they just live out the rest of their lives. And I forget where I think it was Alabama. Yeah, she goes back to Alabama, and they just decide like, our people are here and our fight is here. So this is where we're going to stay. And
we can make the most difference here.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful story. And I want in the later books to know that Neva like gets the Oscar.
I know.
And gets the acclaim. Like, I want to see how this work all turns out.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting that Kennedy decided to end it not in the predictable place, because I think that that's what I was predicting. So it's interesting that she went in a different direction. It was still very satisfying.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that moment where he walks her into the room to show her the documentary, and isn't it the same room that all his mom's old cameras and her photographs are in as well? I thought it was.
It might be. I missed that detail though.
I don't know. It might not be.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, it's gorgeous. And like, this book is so good, but it will rip your insides apart a little bit and then build them back together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll kind of raw dog your insides. I'm sorry.
All right, bitch. What's your lady love?
Okay. My lady love is I have been art journaling because I want to get back into like my visual art side and actually learn how to draw. And actually like do things on paper and
Mm-hmm.
with paint and like experimenting with different mediums and actually like teaching myself art instead of just sort of doodling on my iPad. And
Mm-hmm.
because I cannot write more words because all my words are being used right now on
Mm-hmm.
revising my book that we can talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like journaling. I don't feel like doing the whole like morning pages thing and just like hearing my inner thoughts
Mm.
sounds exhausting right now. So I'm just trying to draw them.
Oh, I
And it's
like
been
that.
very therapeutic. So that's my lady love.
That's really cool.
How about you?
My lady love is a little book called How That Makes You Feel. It is by L. Diaz. I have only gotten a few pages of it, which is a travesty. But the pages that I have gotten
We're hot.
were
You said.
hot.
Yeah, you said that they were hot. Yeah.
They were hot. L.
Yeah. Okay, so I wrote a book and you can pre-order it. I'll send you the link so you can put it in the show notes.
Hell yeah.
But
as if I don't have the link. Go fuck yourself.
It's my first book. It is going to be part of a series. Right now I have the release date for February 14th, not because it's Valentine's Day, but because an astrologer told me it was a good day. Like, I'm not even gonna lie.
That is some millennial messiness that
Yes.
I really love.
So I might release it earlier if I have a panic attack and
Totally.
can't wait anymore.
Listen,
So like
sometimes you just need to be a chaos goblin.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Channel my inner Katie Robert and just like push the button. So like you can pre-order it now. It will be available in paperback, but right now you can pre-order the ebook and you'll get it February 14th or sooner.
Or
Who knows? It's a mystery.
It could just be a present that shows up in your Kindle.
Who knows? I sure don't. So it is about this. So I'm obsessed with therapists because I've seen a lot of them. And I've always wondered what their deal is and what their inner life is like. And I try to like get tidbits out of them. And recently there's been a lot more like with younger therapists and like TikTok therapists and people on social media talking about like how they think that more self-disclosure from therapists is better. So I kind of wrote the self-disclosure book of a therapist. Her name is Camila. She is divorced. She had a disastrous rebound after her divorce, got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder after that, has really taken control of her life and stopped being such a chaos entity in her own life.
Oh, yeah.
She's gotten sober because the alcohol was not good for her big feelings.
Absolutely.
And she's still like the life of the party, but she doesn't feel like she can really like give in to any kind of impulses anymore. And she has these like very set routines. It's like up at 6 a.m. meditating kind of shit. Like, and based on her past relationships, she thinks kind of bring out the worst in her. Okay. So she avoids them. But then she meets this really cute guy named Zach. And Zach has his own issues because he is back home to take care of his teenage sister after their mom died. And he hated his mom. They had a rough relationship, like mommy issues all over this man, but they're actually justified.
Listen, I love a mommy issue book.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that. And the whole struggle with them is like at first resisting the relationship being anything but physical. And then they catch feelings. And then it's like, oh, am I doing as well as I thought I was doing at battling my hot mess tendencies? Or do I still have a lot that I need to unpack? And this relationship is going to make me pull all that out of the suitcase. So.
Ooh,
so
juicy.
That's how that makes you feel. It's if you like the show Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, I was going for kind of that tone. Like Camila is very much like shares a lot of personality traits with Rebecca Bunch from that show. Like both like hyper competent women who you can't help but root for, but they've done some shit.
But they've got some nonsense in their closets.
Yeah. So
yeah. It could burst open at any time.
I'm excited to have people discover them and their nonsense with them. So
hell yeah. Listen,
I'm eventually will get better at giving an elevator pitch about the book, but
no, don't. That was perfect. Everything about it was perfect. I love it. And I would like for you to send me a copy of the book as soon as you're done with the latest revisions, ma'am.
That is okay. So I'm taking a staycation this weekend. I'm taking a 4-day weekend, and I've already said on TikTok, like, I'm finishing this revision this weekend. So like, I can't be a liar on TikTok.
Absolutely.
So I'm just gonna do it.
Absolutely. If anything's gonna hold you accountable, it's gonna be TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, there's also a trailer. There's a trailer.
I made a book trailer. I made a book trailer, and the cover is really pretty, and I'm excited about that. So yeah, this is the book of my heart. And book 2 is going to be in the same universe, and it's going to be Sapphic, and I'm very excited about it because that one's going to be a retired stunt woman, now owns a gym, and a cute baker who she rescues when they run into each other at a Halloween party and a guy is being really gross. So she puts like the stunt woman moves on the guy, and the baker's like, thank you so much for doing that. I want to learn how to do that. Do you want to train me?
I have chills. Oh no.
Yeah, so
oh wow. Okay.
So they take their like flirtation over like the stunt performer coming for like her morning croissant into like, oh, now there's some forced proximity. Oh my God. Because her work hours do not allow her to go to the gym regular hours. So it's got to be when everyone else is gone. She's got to keep it open late for her. So
gosh.
So I'm really excited to get into that story, which is why I have to get this one finished.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Where can they find you online?
Okay, so I am the co-host with my wonderful, beautiful friend Meg of Make Out Already Pod. And on Instagram, we're Make Out Already Pod. On Twitter, we're Makeout_already. I hope that whoever took the Make Out Already Pod Twitter handle is having a great day. I hope that they're happy and healthy. And for my author stuff, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at L Diaz Romance, and you can pre-order How That Makes You Feel right now.
Yeah. And if you like the Marvel Universe and general shenanigans, that's also on TikTok at What the Blueberry.
What the Blueberry.
Very cute. Oh my God.
You,
Thank
Melody.
you so much for coming. I love you.
Thank you. I had a great time. I love you. This was a blast.
All right. Oh, wait. Keeping a badass. And love you. Oh my God. Keeping a badass and love yourself as much as you love a person with standards that will make their body reject a kidney.
I love it.
Oh my God.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.